They're going to reset the dollar, not eventually, not in some distant future, soon, within years, maybe months. And when they do, everything in your bank account will be worth less, possibly worthless. Not because of a crash, not because of inflation, because they'll simply declare it so. They'll announce a new currency, a new system, and your old dollars, the ones you worked for, saved, sacrificed for, will be converted at a rate that benefits them, not you. This isn't theory. This isn't conspiracy. This is history. Currency resets happen. They've happened dozens of times, always under the same conditions, always with the same justifications, always with the same outcome. The wealthy preserve their power. The middle class gets wiped out, and the poor never had anything to lose anyway. And right now, at this exact moment, the conditions for a reset are in place. The debt is unpayable. The currency is debased. The trust is eroding. And the mechanisms for a new system, a digital system, a controlled system, are being built in plain sight. While you're distracted by politics, by culture wars, by whatever crisis dominates today's news cycle, they're preparing the reset. And when it happens, it'll happen fast. Over a weekend, markets closed, banks frozen, an emergency announcement, a new currency introduced, and by Monday morning, your wealth will be different. Reduced, confiscated, redistributed, all perfectly legal, all perfectly planned. Let me show you something that should terrify you. In 2023, the Federal Reserve launched FedNow, an instant payment system, real-time settlements, digital transactions processed in seconds. They called it modernization. They called it convenience. But what it really is infrastructure for a central bank digital currency, a CBDC, a programmable dollar. A dollar they can track, control, freeze, delete at will. And it's not just America. Over 100 countries are developing CBDCs. China already has one. The digital yuan, fully operational, fully monitored, every transaction tracked, every purchase recorded, every citizen's financial life visible to the state, and America is next. The Federal Reserve has admitted they're exploring it. The Treasury is researching it. The infrastructure is being built. And when they're ready, they'll announce it, not as a choice, as a necessity, because the current system is failing, because the debt is unsustainable, because the dollar is dying. And the reset, will be their solution. But here's what they won't tell you. The reset isn't to save you. It's to save them. To wipe the slate clean. To start over with a system they control even more thoroughly. And in that reset, your wealth will be the sacrifice. So how does a currency reset actually work? What does it look like when a government declares old money invalid and introduces new money? Let's look at history, because history always repeats, especially when people don't learn from it. Go back to 1944. World War II is ending. The global economy is shattered. Currencies are worthless. Trade has collapsed. And the Allied powers gather in Bretton Woods, New Hampshire, to create a new system, a new order. They decide the dollar will be the world's reserve currency, backed by gold, $35 per ounce. Other currencies will be pegged to the dollar. The dollar will be pegged to gold. It's brilliant. It's stable. It makes America the center of global finance, but it requires discipline. It requires the U.S. to maintain gold reserves, to limit money printing, to honor the conversion for decades. It works. The dollar is trusted. The system functions. America prospers. But by the 1960s, the discipline breaks. Vietnam, Great Society programs. Spending beyond means, and the gold starts flowing out. Other countries, France especially, start demanding gold for dollars because they can see the truth. America has printed more dollars than it has gold. The promise is a lie. The system is breaking. And on August 15th, 1970-1 ... Richard Nixon makes an announcement, a temporary suspension of gold convertibility. Temporary. That word again. Always temporary. Never permanent, except it's been over 50 years. And gold convertibility was never restored because that announcement, that Sunday night television address ... was a reset, a unilateral breaking of the global monetary agreement. The dollar was no longer backed by gold. It was now backed by ... faith by force, by the fact that oil was priced in dollars and everyone needed oil. This was the petrodollar system, and it worked for a while because as long as countries needed dollars to buy oil, the dollar remained strong, remained demanded, remained the reserve currency. But that system is dying now, slowly. China and Russia are trading oil in yuan and rubles. Saudi Arabia is accepting other currencies. The petrodollar is unraveling, and when it fully unravels, the dollar's reserve status goes with it. And when that happens, the reset becomes necessary, unavoidable, inevitable. But let's look at other resets. More recent, more brutal to understand what's coming. India, November 2016. Prime Minister Modi appears on television, announces that overnight the 501,000 rupee notes, representing 86% of currency in circulation, are no longer legal tender, invalid, worthless. Citizens have 50 days to exchange them at banks for new currency. It's called It's presented as fighting corruption, fighting tax evasion, fighting black money, but what it really was ... was a reset, an attempt to digitize the economy, to force everyone into the banking system, to track every transaction. And the result, chaos. Lines at banks stretching for miles, small businesses collapsing, people losing their savings because they couldn't get to banks in time. The poor devastated, the rural populations crushed, and the wealthy, they were fini. They had advance warning. They had connections. They converted their cash early into gold, into assets, into safety. This is how resets work. The people at the top know it's coming. They prepari. They protect themselves, and everyone else finds out when it's too late. Or look at Cyprus. 2013, the banking system is insolvent, too much debt, too much exposure to Greek bonds. And the EU demands a bailout. But this time, it's not taxpayers funding it. It's depositors. They call it a bailout. If you had over 100,000 euros in a Cypriot bank, the government took 47% of your savings overnight to recapitalize the banks, to pay for their mistakes. And it was legal, written into law, justified as necessary. If this is making your heart race. If you're starting to understand that your wealth isn't as secure as you thought, then you need to see what's coming. Hit subscribe, because the mechanisms being put in place right now make Cyprus look gentle, make India look mild, and they're designed to happen fast. So fast you won't have time to react. The current system is approaching the breaking point. The mathematics are undeniable. The debt is $34 trillion. The interest is over $1 trillion per year. The Federal Reserve's balance sheet is still over $7 trillion. Down from 9... but still massive. Still unprecedented. And here's the key detail that nobody talks about. When the Fed tries to reduce its balance sheet, when it tries to sell bonds and contract the money supply, markets collapse, interest rates spike, banks fail. So they can't unwind. They can't go back to normal. They're trapped in a position where they must keep printing, keep expanding, keep inflating until the currency breaks. And they know this. The people running the Federal Reserve aren't stupid. They understand the trap they're in. They understand that continued inflation will destroy the dollar, but they also understand that stopping inflation will collapse the system immediately. So they're caught between two disasters, and the only way out ... is a reset, a planned, controlled demolition of the current system, and the introduction of a new one, a digital one they can control completely. This is where central bank digital currencies come in. CBDCs, they're being sold as progress, as innovation, as convenience, instant payments, lower fees, financial inclusion, all the right buzzwords. But what they really are is total control. Because a CBDC isn't just digital money. It's programmable money that comes with conditions, with restrictions, with expiration dates. Imagine a dollar that expires if you don't spend it, forcing consumption, preventing saving. Imagine a dollar that can only be spent on approved items. No guns, no crypto, no unapproved political donations. Imagine a dollar that can be frozen if your social credit score is too low, if you said the wrong thing online, if you attended the wrong protest. This isn't hypothetical. China's digital yuan already has these features: programmable, trackable, controllable, and every transaction flows through the central bank, through the government. They know everything you buy, everything you earn, everything you own. Total financial surveillance, total control. And America is building the same system. They're just not calling it that yet. They're calling it faster payments. They're calling it modernization, but the infrastructure is the same. The capability is the same. And once it's in place, once everyone is using it, they'll flip the switch and suddenly your digital dollars come with strings attached, with rules, with surveillance. And here's the truly evil part. When they introduce the CBDC, when they do the reset, they'll force conversion. Your old dollars will have a deadline. Exchange them for a new digital currency by this date, or lose them. And the exchange rate, that's where they'll get you. That's where the theft happens. They'll say one new digital dollar equals one old paper dollar. Sounds fair. But there's a catch. A cap. You can only convert $50,000 or $100,000 or whatever limit they set. Anything above that? Subject to review, subject to taxation, subject to confiscation. They'll call it a wealth tax. They'll call it redistribution. They'll call it fairness. But what it really is theft. Legal, planned, unstoppable. And if you refuse to convert, if you try to keep your old dollars, they become worthless. Non-legal tender, unusable. You'll be forced into the new system. Forced to accept the terms, forced to surrender control. Because the alternative is having nothing. This is the reset. And every piece is in place. The debt crisis provides the justification. The technology provides the mechanism. The pandemic proved people will accept unprecedented government control if they're scared enough. And the propaganda, the messaging, is already starting. You're already hearing about the need for a more resilient financial system, about the dangers of crypto, about the benefits of digital currency. They're preparing the narrative, conditioning acceptance, and when they're ready, when the crisis is severe enough, when the panic is sufficient, they'll announce it. Over a weekend, emergency measures, temporary controls, a new system for a new era. And by Monday, your wealth will be different, reduced, controlled, monitored, forever. But what about other assets? What about stocks? Real estate, gold? Surely those are safe from a currency reset, right? Wrong, because in a reset, everything gets repriced. If there's a new currency introduced, all assets denominated in dollars must be. Your stock portfolio might say $1 million today. But in the new system, it might be worth 600,000 new digital dollars. Same shares, same companies, but the measuring stick changed and you lost 40% instantly, legally. Real estate, same thing. Your house is worth 500,000 old dollars. But in the new system, maybe 300,000 because the currency changed, the denomination changed, the value evaporated, and there's nothing you can do. No one to sue, no recourse, because it's not theft. It's policy. It's a reset. And resets are legal. Always have been. Always will be. Gold, they've confiscated it before 1933, Executive Order 6102. Could they do it again? Absolutely. In fact, in a severe enough crisis, in a complete reset, gold confiscation becomes likely. Because gold is the alternative. Gold is the escape. Gold is what people flee to when fiat currencies die. So the government must control it, must confiscate it, must force everyone into the new digital system with no alternatives. Bitcoin, they'll regulate it, tax it, maybe ban it. They can't confiscate it the same way. But they can make it illegal to exchange for goods, illegal to convert to currency. They can freeze the on-ramps and off. They can make it useless. Trapped in a digital wallet you can't spend from. This is total financial control. And it's the goal, not a side effect, not an unintended consequence. The goal, because financial control is social control. When they control your money, they control your life, your choices, your freedom, everything. And here's what you need to understand. The people planning this, the people building this system, they believe they're doing good. They believe they're preventing chaos, preventing collapse. They believe that total control is necessary. That freedom leads to instability. That choice leads to inequality. So they're building a system with no freedom, no choice, only compliance, only obedience, only control. And they're convinced it's for your own good, that you'll be safer, that society will be more stable, that problems will be solved. But history shows otherwise. History shows that every system built on control eventually becomes tyranny. Every system that eliminates choice eventually collapses. Because humans need freedom, need autonomy, need the ability to choose, even if they choose badly, even if they choose selfishly. Because choice is what makes us human, and systems that eliminate choice eliminate humanity, but they don't care. Because they're not asking for your permission. They're not putting this to a vote. They're not seeking consent. They're building it, implementing it, and when it's ready, they'll activate it. And you'll comply. Because the alternative is exclusion from the economy. Inability to buy, to sell, to trade, to survive. This is the mark of the beast. Not literally, not religiously, but functionally. A system where you can't buy or sell without participation, without submission, without surrender. In the name of safety, of convenience. Do you see the trap? Do you understand what's coming? A currency reset isn't just about money. And the worst part, most people will accept it. They'll see the convenience, the speed, the ease. They won't see the cage until it's locked, won't understand the cost until it's too late, won't realize they've traded freedom for security, autonomy for convenience. And once traded, there's no getting it back. So what do? How do you prepare for a currency reset? How do you protect wealth that can be erased overnight? How do you maintain freedom in a system designed to eliminate it? First, understand the timeline. This isn't happening tomorrow, but it's not decades away either. The conditions suggest within 3 to 7 years, maybe sooner if there's a crisis, a banking collapse, a debt default, a war. Any of these could accelerate the timeline, force the reset before they're fully ready, which might actually be better because a rushed reset is sloppier, easier to escape, easier to circumvent. Second, diversify out of pure dollar holdings. Don't keep all your wealth in bank accounts. Don't trust that your savings will maintain value, convert to real assets. But not all in one place. not all in one form. Spread it, real estate in multiple locations, precious metals physically held, foreign currencies, stocks in companies with international operations, Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies and cold storage, anything that exists outside the banking system, outside their control. Third, build alternative income streams, skills that translate across systems, across currencies, across resets, because even if they reset the dollar, people still need food, housing, healthcare, entertainment, energy. If you provide something real, something tangible, something people need, you'll have value regardless of what the currency does. Fourth, create redundancy. Multiple bank accounts, multiple currencies, multiple citizenship if possible, multiple locations where you could live. Because in a reset, having options is survival. Being locked into one country, one currency, one system is vulnerability, is exposure, is risk. But here's the hard truth. For most people, protection is impossible. Most people can't afford multiple properties, can't obtain second citizenship, can't build diverse asset portfolios. They live paycheck to paycheck. They have nothing to protect, nothing to diversify. They're completely exposed, completely vulnerable, and the reset will destroy them financially, permanently. And that's not an accident. That's the point. The reset is designed to wipe out the middle class, to eliminate the buffer between rich and poor, to create a two-tier system, those who own real assets and those who own nothing, those who have options, and those who have none, those who maintain wealth through the reset, and those who lose everything. You need to decide which side you're on and start acting accordingly. Because time is running out. The infrastructure is being built. The narrative is being shaped. The crisis is being engineered. And when it happens, it'll happen fast. Too fast to react. Too fast to adjust. Too fast to protect yourself if you haven't already. The currency reset is coming. Not as prediction, as inevitability. The mathematics guarantee it. The debt ensures it. The system requires it. And the technology enables it. All that's left, is the trigger. The crisis that provides justification. The emergency that demands action. The moment when they can say we have no choice. This is necessary. Accept the new system or face collapse. And people will accept it. Because collapse is scarier than control. Because poverty is worse than surveillance. Because most people would rather survive in chains than die free. But you don't have to be most people. You don't have to accept the narrative. You don't have to surrender without preparation. You can see it coming. You can position yourself. You can make choices that increase your odds, that preserve your autonomy, that maintain your freedom, even in a controlled system. But only if you act now. Only if you stop trusting the system. Stop believing the promises. Stop hoping someone else will fix it. Because no one is coming to save you, new politician. No policy. No protest. The reset is policy. It's planned. It's prepared. And it's coming. If this revelation has destroyed your faith in the financial system, if you're understanding that your wealth is far more fragile than you thought, if you're seeing that the game is designed for you to lose, then you need to see what we're exposing next. Subscribe, share this everywhere. Because the next episode reveals the asset class they can't confiscate. The one thing that survives every reset in history and why they're desperately trying to control it before the collapse. Time is running out and your wealth, your freedom, your future depends on what you do next. The currency reset isn't a possibility. It's a certainty. The only question is timing and whether you'll be ready, whether you'll be positioned, whether you'll be one of the few who maintains wealth through the transition or one of the many who loses everything. They're counting on your ignorance, your complacency, your trust in the system. But you're not ignorant anymore. You see the machinery. You understand the plan. And that knowledge is your only advantage. Use it before it's too late. before the weekend announcement, before the emergency measures, before the new system launches and your old wealth ... disappears. The reset is coming. Will you survive it, or will you be erased with the currency? The choice is yours, but the clock is ticking. And when it runs out, there are no second chances.